The battle for the beachhead was hotly contested. After the initial foothold had been won, the usual precautions had to be taken to ensure the successful defense of that tiny area. Any enemy counterattack would have to contend with a firmly entrenched beachhead force. But the invading troops were concerned not only with defense. The Marines subscribed to the theory that the best defense is a good offense and followed that course in the campaign on Bougainville. Until the enemy force at Cape Torokina was overcome, the battle was one of small groups. Marine emphasis on small unit training, especially in rifle squad and platoon tactics, paid off on Bougainville. The enemy had to be dug out of the jungle. The pattern for reducing enemy positions was growing steadily more efficient. The flamethrower enabled U.S. combat teams to achieve their objectives more rapidly and thereby saved many American lives. The seizure of Cape Torokina was the key to success. The winning of the American beachhead on Bougainville was no easy job. On November 10th, Admiral Bull Halsey arrived on Bougainville and checked over the progress of the fighting with Marine General Roy Geiger, who had taken over as ground forces commander the day before. The admiral, who as commander of the South Pacific area was in charge of the entire operation, seemed well satisfied with the course of the action in the fight for control of the last major enemy island in the Solomons. One group of Marines drove inland along the Piva Trail against mounting resistance. By mid-November, they had penetrated nearly 3 miles into the interior.
Our Japanese language specialists worked hard to get them to surrender. Taking prisoners was worth all the trouble it usually turned out to be. Most Japanese soldiers, of course, preferred not to give themselves up. They couldn't seem to believe that they wouldn't be tortured and shot. From time to time, our intelligence officers picked up some really valuable information, sometimes from the prisoners themselves, sometimes from documents which they carried with them. Strangely, many of the captured Japanese were quite willing to talk. Some volunteered information about their units.
A Grasshopper plane takes off on Bougainville in the South Pacific for a liaison mission against the Japanese who still hold part of the island. Fighting on difficult terrain, the American ground forces are greatly aided by these light, maneuverable planes that can fly at treetop height and at very low speed. Japanese positions are sighted. The plane radios the ground forces, and artillery is brought into firing position. With enemy resistance softened by the bombardment, United States Fiji scouts land near the Java River. The Grasshopper flies overhead as our forces progress toward a cleanup of the isolated but still resistant Japanese on Bougainville.